Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to the presidential and vice presidential debate for student senate elections. Tonight we have the candidates squaring off for the positions, Ian McAuliffe and Catherine Wells, and then Donna Montgomery and Sarah Hazo. Just a few things to keep in mind. GBTV is filming the debate and streaming it live to the rest of campus. Therefore, I ask you to respect the candidates and GBTV and Instagram Live and refrain from any outbursts or comments during the debate. I also ask you to hold your applause until the end so all volume can be picked up while the candidates are speaking. Here are the ground rules for the debate. Each campaign will get a 3-minute opening statement from the president and 90 seconds from the vice presidential candidate. A 5-minute closing statement divided however they see fit. When questions are asked, each candidate will get 1 minute to answer and then 30 seconds for replies from the opposing side. The first person going will be Chairperson Montgomery. Finally, I'd like to thank the candidates for being here, GBTV for filming and helping out with the debate, and the committee, along with Dean Kaiser, and their help and support over these past few weeks. So without further ado, Chairperson Montgomery.
Thank you. Good evening, Golden Bears. Sarah and I are incredibly excited that you chose to join us this evening for this Student Senate debate. 2 years ago, I was a troubled freshman on the verge of failing out of college. I mustered up all of the strength within me to return my sophomore year stronger than ever. I pulled my GPA up tremendously, and I learned 2 very crucial things. The first is how to be an active listener. I realized that I could nod my head and agree with someone, but that it wasn't until I actually applied their words that I realized what they were really saying. Second, I learned how to ask for help. If I do not know something, I am not embarrassed to ask for clarification. Active listening and asking for help are some of the biggest traits that you need in a leader. There is no opportunity for growth if you are shy and ignorant. Throughout this evening, Sarah and I will give you a glimpse into your future with us. We have diverse experiences in residence life, first-year students and students in transition, student senate, student volunteerism, the arts, and much more. This means that we care about every aspect of college that you are a part of. You want an administration familiar with Western New England life far beyond Senate, and that is what we will provide. By already having these established connections, we will be able to answer your questions and concerns more efficiently. On top of this, Sarah and I are compassionate, driven community members who are not afraid to dig deep for the answers and guidance that you seek. Advocating on your behalf is one of our main goals, and creating inclusivity is another. We know that in order to first voice your voice, you must be comfortable in the environment of which you are a part of. Let us be your guiding hand in ensuring your academic, social, and overall success here at Western New England University. We encourage you to ask questions tonight, and we urge you to think about the type of leader that you want here at Western New England University. Think about your future. If you think of a successful, fun, and inclusive future, then you think of Sarah and myself. If you would like to grow as a student, find your inner voice, confidence, and true self, then you think of us. Sarah and I have one overarching goal in mind, and that goal is to simply provide you with the resources needed to give you the absolute best experience of your life here at Western New England University. Once again, thank you for being here this evening, and we could not be more honored and excited to be standing here before you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. My name is Ian McAuliffe, and I'm running for Student Senate President. I joined Senate during my first year at the university, inspired to continue my pursuit of involvement into student government after serving as Student Council President my senior year of high school. Since that time, I have served on the Campus Relations Committee of Student Senate for a term, where I gained valuable insight into various projects on campus that aim to improve the campus community, thus helping me to develop a passion for helping students to the best of my ability. After this, I served on the Senate Legislative Committee for the past 2 terms, where I learned the importance of keeping club constitutions up to date so that they can reflect the vision of a club year in, year out, as their goals may change with each new executive board. This taught me to further understand the value of student leadership and involvement. Throughout my time serving on these committees, I also served as the Class of 2020 representative for the past 3 years. Here I forged valuable relationships with constituents and was able to gain a better understanding of the issues and grievances pertaining to my constituency over the years. Due to my involvement in Senate, I have first and foremost gained invaluable experience. Through this, I have been challenged to be the best I can be, allowing me to be a confident student leader. In addition to my 3 years on Senate, I also have served as the financial director of Golden Bear Television during the last year, helping me to understand the importance of finances as I have aimed to keep a balanced budget and an accurate record of our expenditures. For the past 2 years, I have had the privilege of being involved with the Spring Event Executive Team serving on the Security Committee. Being involved with this biggest event of the year has helped me gain invaluable insight into bringing a performer to campus that makes as much of the Western New England community engaged and interested as possible. For the past 3 years, I have served as a member of the Class of 2020 Council, and I have gained valuable experience in working to give back to the students of the university. Through our programming, I have been provided with a valuable opportunity to hear the voice of the students, providing them with programming for all students to enjoy. Finally, serving as an open house associate has allowed me to speak with countless prospective students and speak with them enthusiastically about the many opportunities that our campus provides. As Student Senate President, it will be my overarching goal to improve the campus community as much as I can by genuinely listening to student feedback and being as accommodating as I can to their needs. It is Catherine and I's goal to make Senate more approachable and less exclusive, as it is our job to truly be the voice of the students. Thank you.
Good evening. Donna and I are more than grateful to have this opportunity to share with you tonight. Our wide array of leadership experience, both on and off Senate, will allow us to be more effective and efficient for you. We will strive to have meaningful, personal conversations with you, where not only you will grow, but facilitate that growth within yourself as well. It is you that we care most about, and after all, you want leaders who don't just have themselves on their agenda, but we have you as well. Thanks.
Hello everyone, thank you for taking the time to come out here tonight. If you didn't know, my name is Catherine Wells and I'm running for the position of Student Senate Vice President. You may be wondering why someone with 0 Student Senate experience, like myself, would be running for the position of Senate VP. I, however, actually believe that this is my greatest asset for this campaign. Not only will I be bringing a brand new perspective to all Senate-related topics, but I will also be bringing a new voice to this table, a voice that speaks for the students and their ideas that I've heard through my involvement with other organizations on campus. During my past 3 years here, not spent on Student Senate, I've held the positions of a peer advisor, first-year seminar assistant, peer tutor, Beta Gamma Sigma executive board member, and Cub Connections tutoring program coordinator, among others. Needless to say, I've had a diverse range of experiences from my leadership positions here at WNEU, and I've heard the voices and concerns of all different groups of students, who each have different ideas and passions for our campus community. As such, I hope to use these experiences to represent all of these students to the best of my abilities in this role. After all, we are the people running for the people, all people. And by people, I mean students. Thank you.
So this question is directed at both teams and can be answered by any candidate on the team. What experience do you feel has had the biggest impact on your ability to represent the student body?
I would say that the place where I've kind of garnered the most experience in my time here at Western New England would be Senate, just being able to kind of hear from a broad range of students, various concerns that we have fixed over the years. I think that Senate allows me to be comprehensive in my leadership, and it just has opened doors for me for many years and given me experience necessary to serve the community as best I can.
I would say that definitely almost failing out of this university gave me the best perspective I could have ever imagined. I literally thought that I was the coolest person walking in here, and I was a biology major, and I almost failed. I learned so many connections, so many resources, so many available things at my fingertips that I can now share with every other student here who might be going through the same exact things as I did. And even if you aren't going through those things, I have what it takes to tell them what to tell their friends or their peers or their mentors what they can go through to better themselves as well. Thank you.
The next question goes to either candidate. What would you do in a situation in which the student body goes directly against your personal beliefs?
At the end of the day, Sarah and I would really be representing you and your voice. We would put our beliefs aside if it meant that the outcome was greater than the sum of its parts. Therefore, we would be willing and open to very good conversations and discussions with you. And at the end of the day, we would do whatever was needed to make your experience here the best that it could be, whether those align with our goals or our ideas or not. We are here as the voice of you. Thank you.
I'd say as a senator, I had the privilege to voice my opinion over the last several years. And, you know, I was very fortunate to be able to do that. But as president, regardless of my personal opinion, my job primarily is to serve the students the best I can. And so if their opinion went against mine, it's no longer really up to me to defend what I personally believe, but to serve the students the best I can. So I would say that if they went against something that I personally believed in, then I would put my personal opinions aside in order to serve the community best I can.
This question is for either candidate. What do you feel has been your biggest accomplishment on Senate so far?
My biggest accomplishment, I'd say, would be being a part of several of the policies that Senate has worked to achieve over the last few years. My freshman year, we passed the transport policy, which stipulated that anyone who is transported medically is not required to inform a legal guardian based on that they may not have the best home situation. And so I would say that things like that and other policies that we've worked on have really been my biggest accomplishment on Senate and as a student leader, just really being able to make a powerful impact on the student body and with the president's staff.
Student Senate is the voice of the students, and as the public relations chairperson serving on the executive board, I have been able to help you voice your voice already in my involvement on Student Senate. Various flyers, bulletin boards, publicity, university posts, basically any type of anything that spreads the word you can think of, my committee and I have probably achieved, and that really gets down to the nitty-gritty of voicing your voice for you.
This question is for the vice presidential candidates only. Talk to us about how you will support your president if elected.
As vice president, I'll be able to support Donna in all of her missions, and then work as a partnership with her, and we'll be joint together, and we'll have because we're going to be president and vice president, we'll work together and just prove that we can do it, and we'll also show throw our ideas off of each other, and that way we can enhance the experience for the students as much as possible.
So once again, although I'm aware that I haven't had any Senate experiences prior to this year, hopefully, I am well aware of the fact of how much of an impact Student Senate has on the student body and how important it is on this campus. So as a result of that, I would definitely make Student Senate a priority of mine. and all of my future endeavors throughout senior year, I would make this my #1 priority, as Vice President of Student Senate would be a very large position. And as a part of that role, I would definitely meet up with Ian as much as possible to compromise on ideas, to really figure out what it is that the students want, and to also bounce ideas off of Ian. And as a part of that, also to kind of go against the grain, maybe even of what Ian's talking about, just to provide different perspectives. So I think also being a boy and a girl, we both bring different gender perspectives. So I think that we'd make a really great team, and I would provide my full support to Ian in terms of making any important decisions.
This question goes to either candidate. How would you handle a situation in which you disagree, even sometimes vehemently, with the policies that the university administration is trying to pass, whether that be the presidential staff or the board of trustees?
This somewhat goes back to what I said previously, but serving as the president of Student Senate, I have to essentially put my personal opinions aside sometimes for the betterment of the campus community and the administration as well. It's not necessarily my place, if I have a dissenting opinion with the administration, to make that prominent, especially serving in the position that I would be serving in. I think that the best thing to do would be to go through Senate procedure. If it's a matter of voting, that Senate would vote and we would give our official recommendation to the president's staff as a result. But again, my personal opinion won't really come into it. Even if I am personally against something, that's not really the time or place to have my personal opinion.
If this university policy is something that we feel you, as our students and our peers and our friends, strongly disagree with, we will advocate on your behalf for this as hard and as far as we have to. We will voice your voice. If this policy is something that only disagrees with myself or with Sarah and not with you, we will gladly sit down for open discussions in approachable forms of communication with members of the president's staff, faculty staff, students, classmates, anyone here at this university to come to a solution where we can either compromise and meet in the middle or learn the respecting sides of both of the policy. Thank you.
This question is specifically for vice presidential candidates. How would you build inter-Senate morale?
Hi. I would build inter-Senate morale by being super open and talking to my senators and just having conversations with them and making sure they're having the best experience they are having possible. I can also coordinate events and just little outings on campus that they could participate in and just help build the spirit around everybody. And just having the openness and open lines of communication to make sure that they're as successful as possible will help build the overall morale. And as I think it's super important that everybody's happy in what they're involved in.
To help boost Senate morale, I would love to incorporate some sort of Senate events that we could hold just so as to make sure that everyone's on the same page, that everyone is agreeing with each other and getting along with each other, and that everyone is incorporating important values such as teamwork into the whole idea of Senate. I would also like to continue implementing Senator of the Month, as I know that that's a pretty big deal that Senate currently implements and is going on right now. And overall, I just want to make sure that everyone is happy in all of their roles on Senate, that it's a cohesive organization running as one. It's necessary to ensure that there's no extreme discontents and that everyone is on the same page once again, and also just to make sure that everyone feels as though their voice is being heard equally amongst each other.
This question goes to either candidate. What do you feel is the role of Student Senate in the campus community, and how do you think you can grow the organization in this role?
As we both mentioned, Senate is really the voice of the students, so our role is it's much more than allocating budgets to organizations and kind of doing the traditional roles that Senate always performs. It's really being there as an advocate to all students, whether that be an advocate to the administration or otherwise. I think that Senate their primary job is to just give back to the community as much as they can. We're kind of entrusted with that responsibility, just as the United States Senate is. You know, they are elected as officials to represent their communities, and we are officials elected to represent our constituencies, whether that be a class or the College of Arts and Sciences, for example. That is our job.
Student Senate, as you've heard a lot tonight, is the voice of the students. Sarah and I know that in order to be fully comfortable voicing what you think, what you believe, and what you would like out of your experience here, you must first and foremost be comfortable in the environment of which you are a part of. Therefore, Sarah and I will strive to really make this an inclusive environment here for you to not only learn in, but to have fantastic social development, personal growth, academic success, and overall success here at the university, because that is the one main foundation about how you voice your voice in the first place. You must be comfortable in your environment. Thank you.
This question is for either candidate. What is your vision for Student Senate as an organization?
So not only do we voice the voice of the students, but we help out a lot with clubs, budget allocations, different concerns, grievances, overall student concerns here on campus as well. So overall with Student Senate, we just really want to provide you with the best experience possible going forward and allow clubs, organizations, individuals, incoming students, prospective students, anybody to know that they are here and that we are here for them to succeed in for sure. Thank you.
Student input is invaluable to our work on Senate because without the students, we have no one to truly represent. So that being said, we would really like to poll the students as much as we can on a variety of campus issues, or not necessarily issues, but to just get their feedback as much as we really can. That's one of the main focus points that my administration would really like to take, is to just be inclusive to students as much as we can, to kind of in a sense, break down the wall around Senate, in that it is sometimes viewed as an exclusive organization, but we want to be known as approachable. We want students to come to us with any and all questions that they may have. In addition to that, we want to install strong leadership in our positions, both on the executive board and just in Senate as a whole. And we would very much like to improve communication in general, both from the president's staff to the university, from us to the president's staff, and just in general. So.
This question goes specifically to the Vice President. Are you willing to disagree with the President if you feel that they're out of line, or you disagree with them on a matter of opinion? And in that situation, how would you go about doing so? Okay.
So yes, I absolutely would be willing to disagree with Ian as president. We are a co-team after all, and it wouldn't be much of a democracy if Ian were ruling out all the decisions we make. So I think it's really important that I disagree with him from time to time. So in that situation where I do disagree, I would approach him calmly, and we would just discuss both of our pros and cons of both of our ideas, and really decide which one would benefit the students the most and what the students truly agree with the most. So we could each bring different ideas to the table, but at the end of the day, it depends on what the students really agree with, which of our ideas works best. And we would be very patient and approachable in either situation.
So I would be super willing to disagree with Donna, especially if it's something like I believe strongly in. And Donna and I have been on the executive board together this past year, and we've had the opportunity to have disagreements with each other. We have a very good relationship with each other, that we are comfortable enough to have those disagreements, but we also respect each other's opinions enough to have open communication and try to see the other person's point of view, so that way we can be as successful as possible, coming up to a middle ground area if we can. Thanks.
This question is to either candidate. What are your top priorities for your administration?
As you've already heard, Sarah and I would really love to create an inclusive environment for you to be able to feel comfortable to voice your voice. We would also love to create sort of like an area where we can include incentives or some sort of really, really great ideas in order to poll for students, in order to really get your feedback. We know that you see university posts every single day with surveys included in them, and do you take them? Most likely not. So we would really love to push the communication on that with those incentives. And then we would also love to create more community outreach events. Through Student Senate, I have recently been able to partner with public safety in creating a lot of community outreach events, and we would love to further that throughout our administration so that we not only reach through Senate, but we reach through you as the students, and then we even reach through you as the students through the Springfield community as well to really build our diverse community here. And then we would also love to communicate effectively. We would follow up with you via any concern or grievance via email, text, phone call, and we would most certainly always want to meet with you in person so that we would really be able to create that open dialogue. Is that okay? Thank you.
So I'll just kind of build off some of the things I previously said. Communication will really be integral to the success of our administration. Not only communicating with students, but with other student leaders, making sure that there is a chain of communication that comes from us and comes back to us kind of in a circle. I'd just like to elaborate briefly, talking about communication from the president's staff in terms of, if there is, for example, a policy that we approve and it goes to the president's staff and then needs to be kind of relegated to the campus community as a new change, we really want to strive to make the president's staff, more able to really just get that communication out there. And leadership is very important to our success, so we really want to see, strong leadership on Senate, which we already have and we, know that we will continue to have. So we really just want to see efficiency in all that we do. Thank you.
As this year's Senate comes to a close, we see a lot of things that are not necessarily left unresolved, but seem to be continuing themes throughout going forward. So what projects and ideas do you see your administration moving forward on?
So in the previous year, we've been working on things like the residence hall access policy, which is something that doesn't have a clear resolution as of now and will roll over to the next administration. So regardless of the outcome of what that is, it's something that our administration will take from the previous administration. We will take all their notes on it and we will move forward with it. And whatever result it may come to, we will hope to bring the best result to the campus community that we can. And that goes for all rollover projects, anything that comes to us from the Senate that is still in term as of right now. We hope to really just improve and continue with and strive to either reach a resolution or the best possible conclusion to serve the students.
Two main points brought up for this past term that Sarah and I have really been thinking about is the quality of food for you and the accessibility and convenience of gender-neutral bathrooms for our students. Sarah and I would love to further the development in these policies to push them through our administration to create more conversations, more student debate, and more education here on campus regarding these matters and several others. And we kindly reach out and would ask anybody to partner with us on any of these, as student input is our #1 priority here. You are more than welcome to always contact us regarding any of these policies mentioned. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to take a 10 to 15-minute intermission. If you have any questions that you want to ask any of the candidates, there are cards up on this black table right here. There will be a box for you to submit them to. They will be vetted by the committee. Furthermore, if you are on Instagram Live watching this now, feel free to send us any via DM, and we will be able to receive those and ask those as well. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, our 10-minute intermission is closing down now. So this will be a question for every single candidate. Every single candidate gets to answer. It'll be answered by team. So if Donna answers, then Sarah will answer, then Ian, then Kat, just to give an example. So the question is from the audience. I know a minimum GPA is required. How is your academic performance? We'll begin with Chairperson Montgomery.
All right, so as I've briefly touched upon, my academic performance freshman year was not too strong, but I really was able to raise it up far above the limit that Senate requires for not only for Student Senate, but for everything else in my life as well, because no one at the end of the day wants to have a 2.0 GPA. So it will not only help me on Senate after pulling myself up from these bottoms of the GPA world, but it will also help me mentor everyone else and help and lead everyone else and in every other experience as well.
So academics are super important to me, and they always have been, even back in high school. So for me, my academics won't have an issue, as I've been on the president's list for the past 3 semesters. I've also been on dean's list freshman year too, so my GPA is not an issue, and I hold myself to a higher standard when it comes to my academics.
So one of the things that I've said a lot at this university is that academics come first. So, first and foremost, my dedication will be to my schoolwork and then to Senate. But in high school, I didn't have the best grades. And then coming into college, I'd say they were okay at first, but I struggled early on. But since then, I've really brought them up. And I'd say that they are well above what I need to be in Student Senate and in general. So this allows me to focus more on Senate, but while still placing an emphasis on my grades.
So academic achievement has always been a main priority of mine. As a result of that, I was inducted into Alpha Lambda Delta, which is the Freshman Honor Society. And I've made president's list every semester since being at college. This past spring, I was inducted into Beta Gamma Sigma, which is the business school honor society here on campus. You have to be in the top 10% of your class to be inducted into it. I currently hold a 3.88 GPA, as well as being a member of the Honors College of Business. So like I said, academics is a main priority of mine.
This, much like the last question, is directed at all 4 candidates. Again, 30 seconds each. What is your Senate Executive Board experience?
So I don't have any Senate Executive Board experience. I have not served on the Senate Executive Board, but I have served, obviously, as a senator the last several years. And that gives me a unique perspective in that I have always seen Senate from a senatorial perspective. I've always been a voting member of Senate, and I've always been able to contribute my opinions to the conversation.
As I haven't been on Senate before, I've had no opportunity previously to be on the executive board. However, I will say that I did serve as the secretary of my student council in high school, so I have had some student government body experience. And I also serve on the board of Beta Gamma Sigma. This past year, I'm an executive board member on that board as well. So I do have some experience as being on an administrative board of a governing student body.
I was elected to Student Senate on spring of 2018, and within 2 or 3 short weeks, I was appointed onto the executive board. And I also have held executive board positions on at least 3 other clubs as well. So I would say that I definitely have a wide array of executive board experience that can pertain to you and all of the aspects of campus that you are involved in.
I have been on the executive board for Senate for 2 years now. I was appointed as secretary in September 2017 and that term, and then I was reappointed as secretary for this current term. As a member of the executive board, I've also been able to be a very active member, and I feel as though I have been able to voice my opinion even though I do not hold a vote. And I've also had the opportunity to chair Dancing with the G-Bears because of my executive board position.
This question is for any candidate from both sides, only one answers. Being on Senate for 4 years, I have seen executive boards fall apart. How would you strive on retaining a full executive board?
Open communication with all members is crucial to a successful club, whether it's an executive board or not. Even in relationships, open and effective communication is key. So that is our first thing as what we would do if there was ever any incidences that would occur on our executive board.
I would just reiterate what I've already talked about regarding communication among our executive board, and that would be kind of our primary outlet. We always want to stay in constant communication with the executive board so that we're all on the same page, regardless of our opinions. If they may be different, we want to come to a consensus.
This question is directed at either candidate, 1 minute per question like the last. So parking on campus has always seemed to be a major issue, and as the school tries to balance the budget and the deficit while also maintaining a good number of parking spots, parking passes may become more expensive. What would you do about this issue, and where do you stand on it?
So for those of you who don't know, I believe if the increase would be of about $90, and it would generate conservatively $150,000 in income, which would go directly back into capital projects. So I think this is obviously very beneficial to the university. And comparatively, our institution, our parking fee is relatively low in comparison to some other institutions. I remember when I was touring colleges and universities to attend, I remember some had exorbitant rates of up to $400. So in the interest of the campus community and using that capital money that we would gain from increasing the parking pass or parking fee, I would say that it would definitely be beneficial. But in how we communicate it to the students would be very key, and we would definitely want to hear their feedback before any. It may not necessarily be a student senate oriented decision, but we definitely want to gather student feedback and really understand how they feel about it.
So an increased parking fee permit is in the works, and it could possibly be implemented at any time in the future. It is something that we have been having discussions about, especially on our executive board and with our student senate members. So we really hear you, and we feel you, and we know that money is tight. We are broke college students, and we save pennies like crazy. So at the end of the day, we are going to listen to your voice, and then we are going to bring that to the president's staff, to whoever is implementing or thinking about implementing these changes. And at the end of the day, if they happen, they happen. But at least we have represented you in every way possible. Thank you.
Same style question for the candidates, one answer from each team. Some students are afraid of Senate and view them as a threat to the community. How would you change their view and show that Senate strives on creating a friendly community?
This goes back to our main point about really just creating good communication. If we can spread the word about Student Senate, that meetings are available and open to you every Tuesday at 12:45 p.m. in Senate chambers, where it is a fun, inclusive, and great environment for you to grow and learn in. We will do that as best we can. We will further that, as we've already started to do, especially throughout the PR committee. We've done a lot of fun projects with trying to really voice some things on Senate. But along with that, we would really try to push that these meetings are open. We are here for you, and we really do listen, care, and you matter. Thank you.
So I actually agree with the opinion that Student Senate has usually been seen as a threat almost to the student body. I personally did not know much about Student Senate my entire 3 years spent here at school. I don't really know much about what goes on behind the decisions that are made. If I disagree with a decision that's been made, I don't understand where the consensus came about to make that decision, and I never really got to make my voice heard, I kind of felt like. And so that's the main reason why I'm actually running for this position, because I want to decrease that amount of exclusivity that Senate holds. And I think that as much as current Senate members will like to say that it is not an exclusive environment, it's a little hard to tell when you're already involved in the organization. So that's a main component of why I, as an outsider, would like to come into Senate and start making those changes to make it a more inclusive and welcoming environment. And that's why I would play a very key role in doing that, as being a person who has had no involvement on Senate before.
Same style of question. What experience does each president and vice president team have with working together in the past, and what relationship do you have?
So Catherine and I have never directly served together in terms of leadership positions, but because of our broad leadership experience, none of us have really held the same two positions. We both really come from a wide array of leadership. I've served in a number of leadership positions. I've served, as I mentioned earlier, in Golden Bear Television as the financial director. I've served on the Class of 2020 Council, and she's done a number of other leadership positions, and they don't really intertwine, but because of that, I think our leadership styles will really complement each other, and I think because of that, we'll really be an efficient team because we'll really be bringing different experiences and different attributes to the position.
Because Sarah and I have already worked in so many aspects together, we already are over that first step of getting to know each other. We were roommates over the summer as orientation group leaders. We both had a big part of the process of Dancing with the G-Bears. Sarah was the chair and I was kind of her right-wing lady, so that was really nice. We've also both been first-year seminar assistants, so we helped each other through those crazy freshman experiences. And then we've also done a couple of other things together throughout our years here that we would really be able to apply what we've learned to working together.
We've also been on council together, so we've had 3 years of experience of working together as a team as well, too.
Thank you.
And just for the record, to clear up any confusion, Ian and I have known each other since the very start of freshman year. So we have bonded in many other ways. We're close friends outside of any sort of leadership organization. So we already know that we work really well together as a team. This is actually just the first time we're bringing it to a true organization. But we have known each other and worked really well together since freshman year.
Same style question to both teams. What is your decision-making style, and how will that be implemented within Senate?
Let me know. All right, so my decision-making style is very open. I love talking, as you can probably tell this evening. I'm going to tell you each and every single idea that goes through my mind, and I'm going to seek that reassurance and that feedback from you. I really love active criticism, active feedback, and active learning. It is the best way for me to know how to make effective decisions when it comes to leading groups of students and individuals to better them and to better myself as well.
Really just building off what I've already said tonight, my decision-making style is really just kind of compiling all opinions regarding what the decision may be about, hearing both sides of the story, really kind of having a full kind of picture of what I'm looking at, what I'm going to be making a decision about, and then, making the decision that is best for, whatever, if it's for the community, if it's for an individual, after I have consulted with all the people that are necessary to consult with, whether that be Catherine or the executive board or Senate in general. After consultation occurs, then I will make a decision after I'm well informed.
Same style of a question. It's kind of a merger between two questions that are kind of similarly themed. So you all seem to be heavily involved on campus, as well as I'm sure having student and personal lives. So how do you plan to balance the responsibilities of presidents and VP while still maintaining your personal life and your academics as well?
So being Senate President really requires a lot of focus, and as such, it's best to, serving on other executive boards while also being Student Senate President is really a conflict of interest. And so I'm prepared to step down from those other positions, and so that I may, really give my best foot forward for Senate and all decisions, pertaining to Senate. So one of the things that, I would just really stress is that, just being involved, I've gained a lot of experience through doing a lot of, serving in a lot of different positions, but when it comes to Student Senate, having that experience will be very valuable, but I need to really put that aside now so that I can be the best president that I possibly can be.
Well, because as we've said before, that Student Senate is one of the most important governing bodies, if not the most important governing body on campus. We are the voice of the students as a part of Student Senate. I believe that it would be my utmost priority if I were voted into this position due to that, because I would want to best represent the students as I could. So I would also, as Ian said, be willing to step down from other positions that might interfere with this time conflict, as I think that this is such a main priority that we should all make, especially because, as we've said, we are the voice of the students. So we want to be there for you guys at all times, at all costs, to make the best decisions for you guys and to represent you to the best of our abilities.
I balance my life in several ways. If I'm not busy, I'm not doing so well. So I really try to actively involve myself in things that I love doing. Student Senate being one of them, band being another, resident advisor being a third, on forth and so on and so forth and onwards, as they say. So really, I write things down, I plan out my schedule, I use my Outlook calendar, I send Outlook invites, I play the flute to relieve my stress, I ski to relieve my stress, I read, I talk fast, I get really enthusiastic, and I love everything that I do. And the reason that I love everything that I do is to help you, because if I am not a member of any other organization here on campus, how can I best represent you when you are members of other organizations here on campus? Thank you.
As I've been on the executive board for 2 years already, I already have a lot of time carved out that is in place for Senate, and I know like the time commitment that is required to be a part of Senate and what comes with being vice president. So I don't think I'll have any issues being vice president and doing that position, as I already know the time commitment that's required for the position.
This question is specifically for Kat. To Kat, as you don't have Senate experience, what connections have you made with the administration of the school that members of Student Senate have?
So as I've said, I've been involved on numerous other student organizations, Senate excluded. So serving on the board of Beta Gamma Sigma, just for example, our main advisor is Professor Hamakawa. He plays a key role in a lot of academic decisions, not only for the College of Business, but for a lot of other academic-related policies as well. So I have a really close connection with him, just to toss out a name. Additionally, I was the coordinator of the tutoring program called Cub Connections on campus for the first 3.5 years here while at school. And as a result of that, I've made close connections with all of the professors over in Emerson, because I was in there every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 hours out of the day. And when I wasn't working over there, I was serving in office hours that actually took place in the campus center upstairs over here. So I've developed a close connection with a lot of the faculty that works upstairs in the campus center over here, who I'm aware that you guys have a very strong personal connection with when working on Senate. A lot of the campus faculty intermingle with Senate, as they do with all student-run organizations. So I do have a lot of experience working with all of the faculty that works on the second floor of the campus center. So I do have a close personal connection with them.
This question is specifically targeted to Ian and Kat. Involvement in Student Senate seems to be very important and crucial for the development of your presidential skills and qualities. That being said, why does your vice presidential candidate not have any experience, and why hasn't she been involved in Senate previously? You'll have 90 seconds for that question.
While I can't necessarily attest to Catherine not being in Senate, that's a personal choice of hers. One of the things I was looking for in a vice presidential running mate was really a differing perspective, and as she has addressed, having that outsider perspective and being able to bring that to Senate, I think is extremely valuable. And I think having her really, be able to give me her opinion and, probably occasionally disagree with me will be very crucial to the success of our administration.
Well, personally, I never thought about joining Senate previously to Ian inviting me to join. I was just too busy working on other organizations. It never really struck me as something I'd be interested in because I didn't know much about it. And going off of that, it was also seen to me as to be a very exclusive organization. And it is a little threatening to students outside of Student Senate who don't know much about it, they aren't well informed on it. And we don't really know personally as a regular student. I didn't know how the election process worked. I didn't know about the application process. I didn't know much about anything until Ian invited me to run with him. As he informed me more about what Student Senate is all about, how the election process works, how it goes to run for candidacy as we're doing right now, I became very interested in the idea. Because as shown through my involvement with other organizations on this campus, I care a lot about Western New England. I care a lot about the students here, and I care a lot about the campus life here. And so I really want to join Student Senate to really voice my opinions about what I've learned over the course of my past 3 years working on other organizations. And I'd also like to bring an end to the exclusivity that Student Senate currently has in terms of the eyes of other students on this campus.
To both sets, one response. How will you reach out to shy students on campus to get their input?
Through the various clubs and organizations, classes, and settings that Sarah and I are involved in, we would like to think that we really do touch a lot of different aspects of the student body. Therefore, we would be more than happy to reach out to anyone who we realize may be shy or a little bit uncomfortable, especially if it ever comes to voicing their voice, which once again gets back to our overarching goal about creating an inclusive environment. We would contact this student outside of the classroom or outside of the setting so that they did not feel targeted or attacked, have a casual, friendly conversation with them, introduce ourselves, and let them know the time and the place and all hours of the night where they can voice their voice. Thank you.
So this kind of goes back to one of the things I was talking about earlier in terms of communication and polling the students. Through various campus polls, students will be allowed, or not allowed, but more able to really voice their opinions to us without necessarily directly interacting with us. We've really been talking about being approachable. We hope that if they have a question or want to reach out to us, they will feel free to via email or something that's not necessarily as intimidating to them. But another thing is Catherine and I really want to strive to be approachable and to be able to really answer all questions that students may have, coming to them, without kind of that necessarily stigma of the exclusivity of Senate, but as ordinary students. We're all ordinary students here at Western New England. We all take classes and we all, want to give back to our campus community. So we really hope that because of that approachability and ability for students to communicate with us, that anyone who is shy or otherwise intimidated will feel free to reach out.
Every student at WNEU pays a student activities fee that is used to fund clubs and organizations on campus. And what do you think is the most effective use of this student activities fee? Is it a bunch of smaller clubs that would have smaller programs, or several large clubs that have larger programs? Or do you think it's something a little bit in between?
I don't necessarily think there is any one organization on campus, club, that is more important than another. I think whether you're a level A organization, which means you have the smallest allocation, or you're a level D, which means you have the largest allocation, I don't think that places any more importance on you. I think what that means is just that the scale and probably the quantity of your events would be greater, but I would never place emphasis on one organization, because all organizations are outlets for student involvement in their different areas of interest. So if they're interested in a club that receives a level A budget, that's no different than a student who is interested in a club that receives a level D budget. So I would place an emphasis on funding all organizations as we have, and making sure that new organizations that want to activate are welcome to, and so that we just have a really positive campus community.
Sarah and I believe that all clubs here on campus hold valuable reasons of being here and put on very valuable programs. But that is just Sarah and mine's opinion. At the end of the day, we are representing your voice, your opinion, and the clubs and organizations that you best see fit. Therefore, we would be open to any and all ideas and input from you if it ever came to any restructuring, any new clubs, or any new programs coming here on campus. We really want to be your voice. It does not matter what Sarah and I think. It matters what you think. Thank you.
This question is specifically for the vice presidential candidates. What is your understanding of all university committees, and what characteristics make up a qualified appointee?
The all university committees are a group of students who join together to meet on different committees, and they represent the students and are a diverse group of students. There's different varieties, and they are to represent the best versions of the students. There's different aspects, like there's a student affairs committee, there's the food committee, and they are all there to represent the students, and they are there to voice the opinions of the students, and their qualities are to be the best opinions of the student body.
So as Sarah just stated for you guys, what comprises each committee. And in terms of what characteristics of an appointee that each committee should have, I believe that it should be each appointee who has the most understanding of the committee that they're looking to join. So in terms of the food committee, it should be someone who actually has a valid background, either in terms of working directly in the dining hall. I know some students who are employed in the dining hall, or if it's just having a very strong interest in the level of quality of food that we serve in the dining hall. So things along the lines of that would really impact the appointee that we would decide to appoint for that committee. They would have to have a very strong understanding of it, and they would also have to be open to a lot of ideas of other students and really try to incorporate all of those into their ideas. So using their expertise and background in the subject matter combined with listening to the opinion of the general student body would allow them to make the most informed decisions for that committee.
This question is for both candidates. Identify what you see as the biggest flaw on campus and how you think your administration is well equipped to deal with it.
I personally wouldn't identify one really overarching flaw that the university has, but I think that there's potential for improvement in a lot of areas, and I think that the students and their opinions will really be crucial to us really being able to improve those flaws. If they have a grievance about an issue on campus, something that they want to see improved, something that they want to see incorporated or added, that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for them to come to us, whether it's through a poll or through coming to Senate as a visitor or emailing us, communicating with us in any way. This really goes back to my theme of communication. Strong communication, and really just being able to be efficient based off everyone's opinions will really allow us to fix any flaws that come our way. But I wouldn't necessarily say that the university has one large flaw. I just think that communication is very important to fixing any and all flaws.
As mentioned this evening, there is a divide between students and different organizations that they may be a part of. Specifically mentioned this evening is the divide between students and those a member of Student Senate. There are also divides that I can think of maybe between the general student body and athletics. And then there also might be divides that I can think of that might be between those on honor societies and those not. Therefore, in order to create inclusive communities, Sarah and I would really be not only approachable, but we would enforce that open communication, not only between us, but between Senate, the executive board, and the president's staff. We would definitely approach them with our ideas about communication as well, so that everyone is on the same page at the end of the day, because that reduces the divide that we have between our students. Thank you.
We're now going to take a 3-minute intermission prior to closing statements so that candidates can gather their thoughts. Each team will have 5 minutes that can be distributed as they see fit between the president and vice president. We will start with Ian and Kat, and then we will finish with Donna and Sarah. Our brief intermission has now concluded. Ian and Catherine.
So we just want to thank you all for coming out tonight and hearing what we have to say. I think that Catherine and I really bring a diverse perspective to the student body because our leadership really comes from different avenues, as we've stated for you tonight. I've served in Senate for 3 years. I've served on Golden Bear Television as the financial director, member of class council, and Kat has done equally valuable leadership positions, but that come from completely different avenues. So I think that because of our diversity and really, difference in a lot of ways, coming together as a team will really make us balanced and able to really, have a really new perspective and bring a new voice to the table. So we just want to talk briefly with you about a few takeaways.
Ian and I have three main takeaways that we'd like to leave you guys thinking about tonight as we exit this debate. First and foremost, our main mission as being president and vice president of Student Senate would be to continue the importance that we place on student input, mainly through polling the students. Being on Connect to You is really easy in Kodiak for students to take polls. We get to hear the input and opinions of every student on campus. All they have to do is go onto their computer. So we really want to emphasize the access the students have to these polls and also emphasize the importance of the events that these polls have on the actual campus that goes on. So we really want to just emphasize the importance that the student's opinion has on the decisions that are taking place within Senate, and this will be done through the polls. We also want to raise the expectations on senators in terms of bringing comprehensive reports each week so that these can fully encompass each of the constituents' votes and all other relevant points to their constituency. So in that way, we're actually using the data that we're gathering from the polls and actually learning about the input that each of the students have on this campus. Additionally, we believe that strong leadership is essential to success. I think everyone can agree with us on that. Senate has always been comprised of strong student leaders who tend to go the extra mile, and we would like to just continue this culture of strong student leadership in terms of those who we appoint on Senate and those who we continue to keep along for the ride who are already on Senate. We just want to really incorporate every student's opinion who has a really strong leadership position on Senate. And finally, we'd like to improve the communication from the president's staff. The communication between the administration and the campus community, I think that it can be improved. And I think that everyone can agree with me on that. In the past, Senate has strived to improve how the administration relays information to the campus community regarding policy changes and situations that impact campus life. So it is our hope to continue to improve ways in which this information reaches the students so that we can all be a better informed community. Thank you.
This evening was full of information, so let me just recap it for you. Donna and I are diverse students with motivation that reaches far beyond the classroom for you. Not only do we value personal success, but we value your success as well. After all, we would not be here right now if it wasn't for you. As Western New England University continues to grow and change, you want leaders who can do the same. You can sleep tonight knowing that if we have the privilege of being your next Student Senate President and Vice President, you will be walking side by side with us through the changes and updates that we make for your next year at Western New England to make it the best that you've ever had. Thank you.
In closing, Sarah and I are thrilled to have had this opportunity to share a glimpse into your potential future with us. As you have heard, we are dedicated to helping you, our fellow friends and peers. We really, truly do care about you. Sarah and I have worked tirelessly to not only better ourselves through experiences, but to better and help you throughout them as well. We will create an inclusive environment for you to thrive in while seeking your input in every way possible. With us, you will not only grow as a student, but as an individual as well. After all, this is not about us winning. It's about you winning. Thank you.
This concludes our program for this evening. I encourage you all to vote on Thursday from 12 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Connect to You or 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the Campus Center. Graduating seniors cannot vote. It is only freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. If I could just have a brief round of applause for all of our candidates, please. Thank you all very much for coming. I hope you get home safe tonight. Have a great evening.